Hi everyone, Katja here, and in October I did loads of reading, including throwing myself into Japanese fiction, from gritty Yakuza underworlds to lyrical stories of self-discovery, magical realism, and even reflections on running, not a thing that you'll see me do these days. In between lots of hospital appointments and birthdays, mine included, I didn't have time to do my usual individual book reviews, so I'm doing a rare mini wrap-up of 5 thought-provoking and, in some cases, unexpected reads, from rented cats offering comfort to a thrilling dive into 1970s Tokyo. I think there's something here for everyone, and at the end I'll reveal the one that was the most surprising to me and whether it was a hit or a miss. So let's find out. The Blanket Cats by Kiyoshi Shigematsu. Definitely surprising, caught me off guard. I went in expecting cozy, light-hearted stories. Who wouldn't, with a premise on renting cats for comfort? I did get interconnected short stories, which I expect from this type of reflective Japanese fiction. Think Before the Coffee Gets Cold, What You Are Looking For Is in the Library, and even more recently, We'll Prescribe You a Cat. So that's the story structure. Including having elements of magical realism, especially for one story more than the others in this particular book. But instead of cozy vibes, this was thoroughly melancholic and explores human struggles through a unique lens. Each story features someone borrowing a cat while dealing with personal challenges, from infertility to strained family dynamics, and the cats become less a solution and show us more that people try to blanket or cover up the issues by not addressing things head on. And that really struck me about the book, because initially looking at the cover I thought blanket cats, like something comforting and cozy, and then as the story started and the owner talks about how the cats have to go with their blankets for the 3 days that they're rented because it provides them with comfort, I thought, oh, so blanket is really, quite literal. But as we got to the end, I thought, I think this is a metaphor for, us covering up our issues, even though we know the only way to deal with them is to tackle them head on. So Shigematsu doesn't hold back on creating complex characters. These are the flawed sort of characters that act on their intrusive thoughts. They make life-altering decisions and even hurt people because of unresolved personal trauma. Jesse Kirkwood's translation captures the haunting realism beautifully, making the stories resonate long after, you finish reading. Some more than others, actually. While this wasn't the cozy comfort read I expected, it did offer something deeper, that reflection that I was talking about earlier on how we use external comforts to avoid confronting our inner struggles. So if you're ready for a thought-provoking journey, then Blanket Cats might surprise you too. That said, because I wanted a cozy read and I didn't get it, I was immediately a little put out and took a while to soften to this book. So I think the marketing was off. I mean, excuse you for being all cutesy on the cover and then going, ta-da, here you go, here's a bucket full of people's emotional trauma, and not in a cozy way, in a really heart-wrenching way. Hey, cutie pie. You coming in? Book 2, Territory of Light by Yūko Tsushima. This is a book that I've been meaning to read for quite a while. Some of you will be familiar with it because your copy will perhaps even be falling apart from the reread since you love Tsushima's writing so much. I don't know if you heard that, that's my dog having a sneeze. Anyway, this slow lyrical novel explores single motherhood and self-discovery, following a woman adjusting to life in a sunlit apartment with her young daughter after separation from her husband. Light itself becomes a character here, symbolizing freedom, isolation, and the protagonist's internal conflict as she balances stability with autonomy. So sometimes the light is really comforting, and sometimes she feels under the microscope when it comes to societal expectations. And I love the way Tsushima did that, portraying the messy, raw emotions of parenthood, her struggles with loneliness, societal judgment, I really felt for the daughter. The daughter's needs caught between these two parents. Now, Geraldine Harcourt's translation preserves a delicate balance between light and shadow and makes this a deeply resonant read. And it's really short, but packs in a lot. Like I say, I feel for the daughter, and I also wonder if the daughter is not modelled on the author as with the parents, because Yūko Tsushima's dad, Osamu Dazai, abandoned her mother and her to live with his lover before he and said lover unalived themselves. Now, the story doesn't go that dark and melancholy, but we have a mother whose mood swings affect a little girl. We have a man, the father, who lived off his wife, then discarded her to be a toy boy for a rich woman in the neighborhood. And it's all messy, and it's all portrayed so cleverly in 128 pages. It's a book that proves you can do a lot with few words. And sometimes a short read is not truly a short read, because I had to take a few pauses with this when I was feeling really sad for the girl, or I was like, oh gosh, that went messy, or, like certain bits. So if you enjoy contemplative stories that dive into human emotions, I think Territory of Light is a must read, especially if you like Mieko Kawakami's All the Lovers in the Night, and vice versa. If you like that one, you'll like this one. So that's what I think. Anyway, so then we go on to Miracles of the Namiya General Store by Keigo Higashino. And this is a book that was actually turned, I think, into a 2017 movie. I'd love to see it, but I don't think it's available here. Loads of magical realism, and it gives cozy vibes. It starts with 3 petty criminals who stumble upon letters seeking advice in an abandoned store. And these letters mysteriously get delivered from the past, and they start just jotting down their responses and leaving the responses in a particular place that sends these letters back in time. So it's like time travel, but only for the stationery. They don't actually move. It's an interesting concept, and the 3 thugs, minor petty criminals, form surprising connections with people across time. Higashino is best known for his gritty mysteries and shows a much softer side here, exploring how small acts of kindness ripple through lives. And Sam Bett's translation makes the stories approachable and heartfelt, weaving a tapestry of lives that intertwine in really unexpected ways. This was the cozy feel-good read that I had been expecting with Blanket Cats and didn't get. I got that here, and if you enjoy magical realism with emotional depth, then this is a good book. Sometimes there's certain things I could criticize, like the 3 guys are very manga-esque in their goofiness, so they're almost caricatures. But yeah, it's good. Book 4, What I Talk About When I Talk About Running by Haruki Murakami. Definitely a detour from fiction. Because what I talk about when I talk about running is a memoir that blends reflections on running with insights into Murakami's creative process. And I kind of feel that it's also really practical, because you kind of think, if I didn't have the 9 to 5, I could do all these things. But actually, when you hear about his day-to-day, you think, I don't know, you do need a routine. It's meditative prose that offers a unique window into how physical discipline and writing intersect, and I like the parallels between the long-distance running and writing novels. The persistence, the solitude, the occasional need to push through mental blocks. And his voice is really candid and reflective, making this an easy yet impactful read. While some sections felt a little repetitive, I appreciated the honesty and how it deepened my understanding of Murakami as a writer and a person. So for me, it's a solid 4-star read, even if it hasn't tempted me into, getting my running shoes on. Definitely, I had it as an audiobook, so I listened to it while I was walking Milo. Now, speaking of a different kind of action to the running, let's go for the action in the next book, which is to dive deep into Tokyo's violent Yakuza underworld, The Night of Baba Yaga by Akira Otani. Initially, I wasn't sure what to expect, and I'm glad I didn't have many expectations. Set in Tokyo's violent Yakuza underworld in 1979, it follows Haruki Shindo, a tough fighter turned reluctant bodyguard for a Yakuza boss's daughter. She's an interesting character. It's fast-paced, packed with tension, and Sam Bett again is the translator, capturing every whoosh and bang with cinematic clarity. And while the action delivered, I found myself really wanting more depth to the story. Shindo as a main character, her stoicism was great, and Shoko, who she's protecting, has this innocence that was also interesting, but we never get enough of them together. I think there's a real missed opportunity to explore their dynamic. Shindo is a woman with a complicated and mysterious past. I would have liked to delve deeper into that in between some of the regular messed up childhood things that happened to her. And this leads me into this book having so many triggers. Every different type of violence that you can think to be inflicted on someone is inflicted on someone. You could have a dedicated page at the start of the book just listing tons out. The fact that I found a lot of the action scenes engaging means that I would definitely try Akira Otani's work again. But I found it too much violence. And the biggest disappointment for me is the ending, which didn't wrap up as well as I would have liked. Loads of unanswered questions, loads of missed opportunities for developing a love story between the two female leads. It's shelved under queer fiction, but I just don't feel that was explored enough. If you're here for the thrill and for a bucket load of violence and then give this a try. But if you want something character driven with depth, you'll be out of your depths. It is definitely a surprise to me. So that's it for my October reads, and each story offered something entirely different. The book that surprised me the most, it would have been between The Blanket Cats and this last one, The Night of Baba Yaga, but Baba Yaga gets it because there is a particular gruesome scene that occurs, and I was just like, okay, so it involves a box, and if you do end up reading this and then you see other people's reviews, you'll see some people loving the box and some people hating it, and I'm just like, really? Why was it even in there? I don't even want to hate it or love it. I just don't get why we had it there. I just went one step too far in my mind. And that's only one thing I'm picking for what went one step too far. There were loads. So I think you can tell this is not a 5-star read for me. I will, however, give it a 2. It was okay. There's definitely writing ability there. I just wish the execution had a lot more to it. Anyway, I'll be back soon with all the Korean literature that I read in September and October, including fiction, memoir, and philosophy. Remember, if you've read any of these books or are adding any of them to your list, maybe adding The Night of Baba Yaga, let me know. And don't forget to subscribe for more wrap-ups, reviews, and bookish chats. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.